Case study presentation on BamBam. Client information and occupational profile. BamBam is 6.5 years old. His primary diagnosis is delayed motor development and lack of coordination. His dominance in his upper extremity is the right arm and has not established a lower extremity dominance. Problems that BamBam identifies with is hypotonicity, decreased strength, poor proximal stabilization. He is uncoordinated and has difficulty crossing midline. Also has poor balance. Appropriate development milestones for BamBam's age. Physical, runs with speed, has endurance, is able to skip, jump, throws a ball a good distance, catches with accuracy. Sensory, becomes interested in hobbies and organized games with rules. Cognitive, memory improves, vocabulary increases throughout middle childhood, attention is more selective, depth in drawing expands. OT goals: crawling, able to crawl with reciprocal movements and good proximal tone. Prone on elbows, able to hold his head up during a prone activity with good stabilization. Trying to get longer than 2 minutes is a goal. Skipping, being able to skip with fluency. Self-care activities, working with buttons and zips, becoming independent with those. School activities, being able to fill an image 50%, coloring, staying inside the boundaries. Socialization with parents, caregivers, peers, being able to interact with the therapist, and demonstrates good eye contact in the situations. Balance, maintaining good balance during activities and challenges. Fine motor coordination, being able to hold scissors effectively and efficiently. Bilateral motor coordination, being able to cross midline without hesitation during task. And gross motor coordination, able to walk greater than 6 steps heel to toe without loss of balance. Intervention activities. Session 1, I would address being prone on the elbows, shooting for completing a full activity, being in that position with good proximal stability. Fine motor, able to hold a scissors effectively. So for about 15 minutes, I would work on puzzle books, a coloring activity, being in that prone position, and you can adapt it by putting a wedge or a pillow under there for more support if he gets tired, or even give him rest breaks during the activity. And that goes the same for the 10 minutes on the iPad games. Pick out games that would be beneficial for BamBam and ones that he enjoys, that it's going to keep his attention more, so he'll keep that good posture and complete the activity. Fine motor, clothespins. So you can adapt this by using the ones that don't have much tension on it or resistance, and you can grade it by increasing the resistance in the clothespins because there's different strengths available. You can also work on the coordination of him reaching out and clipping it onto a ruler or a piece of string. The bear claw with rubber band would be a good exercise for the hand and working towards holding the scissors. You could grade it by increasing the resistance of the rubber band, shooting for a certain amount of reps or time on that activity, building the hand strength up. Session 2, so school activities, working on coloring the images, and another one for scissors, holding the scissors. So for about 5 minutes or so, just make sure Bam Bam has a good grasp on the pencil, crayon, marker that he's using, and has good posture, good sitting position, understands where to place his hand during the activity. And then you can have Bam Bam practice cutting out shapes on the lines and then coloring in the shape. So start out with, to adapt it, start out with squares and rectangles, just straight lines, be easier to cut. And then once he cuts out the shapes, when you have the shapes cut out, you have to color in that object so you can't get outside of the boundaries. That would be good. And then to grade it, you can cut out more complicated shapes like a circle or a pentagon, a hexagon. That's going to take it more coordination, maneuvering around. And then I would have him trace. So I understand that there's a border, there's the black line that borders a picture or a diagram or a shape. But for him to engage in it, have him trace that black line with a color that he chooses to use, and tell him stay inside that object that you just traced, staying inside the borders. And by this you can start out with having larger shapes and using markers or crayons that have more of a flatter surface that colors in more of an area, makes a bigger trace, and then grading it by decreasing the size of the shape, having to stay in a smaller boundary, and try to work towards using colored pencils, finer point, working on that. The Digiflex is a good one for working that hand scissor motion. So with the Digiflex, you can flip that black handle around and put it on that thingy, and it's a full bar. So to adapt it, if they're having troubles with just the fingers, do the whole hand. And then grade it by flipping it back over and work on single fingers, digits. And you can also, those things have different strengths. You can increase the strength too for grading it. Session 3, address crawling with good reciprocal movements and self-care activities, so buttoning and zipping attire. So you need good trunk control for crawling. So first off, I would have the child sit in a chair with some support and just do a simple marching motion. Just working on getting those legs moving in the motion, and then add in the alternating arms. So left leg goes up, right arm goes up. Just alternating that motion. And to grade it, you can put some ankle weights on his legs for strengthening. Then for his arms, let him hold on to some dumbbells. And then also you can have him sit on a therapy ball, working on trunk control. And just, if he's able to do all that, put him in the quadruped position. Have him propped up on a therapy ball, getting in that position of crawling. Have him reach out towards objects and pick up with his hands, reaching. And once he's comfortable in that position, grade it by removing the therapy ball, and have him still work on those reaching motions. And then once he is able to crawl efficiently, you could add an obstacle course. So have him crawl over pillows, say go right, just an obstacle course. That would make it fun for him. Self-care activities. So buttoning shirts, pants, and zipping pants and stuff like that. I would help Bam Bam with correct hand placement, show him visual cues on the material, where to place his hands. I saw the little key ring thing you put on a zipper. If he's having problems grasping it, hook your finger in it, pull it up. Might help. I mean, that's one way to adapt it. And then the therapy pillow. To me, the therapy pillow is kind of like an activity board, but it narrows it down to certain things. We have one at work. It's pretty cool. But it has buttons, zippers, hooks, buckles, and to adapt it, you can start out with larger buttons and buckles and zippers, and then grading it, simply making all the objects smaller, harder to grasp. Session 4. Bilateral motor coordination, being able to cross midline without hesitation and maintaining balance with challenges. So, balance on a narrow stance, feet side by side, doing the rainbow arc, which is crossing midline. To adapt it, if he's off balance, have him get a wide base, stand feet shoulder width apart. If that's easy, put an Arex mat or a dyno disc underneath his feet. Have him stand on an unlevel surface. Also, you can grade it by increasing the height of the rainbow arc. Bilateral motor coordination, threading beads, using non-dominant and dominant hand. Adapt it by using a thicker thread, string, and larger beads, or with a bigger hole, easier to insert. Grade it by decreasing the size of the beads. More coordination to insert the smaller thread. Also, to grade it, you could try and complete the activity using mainly the non-dominant hand, which would be his left hand. And then shoot for it being a certain length to grade it. Balance and bilateral motor coordination combined. Kicking and throwing a ball. If he can't do it standing automatically, adapt it by having him sit down. And then when he's able to do that, have him stand. And once he's comfortable, has the balance to stand and do it. So typically we would start out with one of the big therapy balls. And so it's easier to catch, easier to kick. Once he's able to do that, decrease the size of the ball. And when he's able to catch and throw it efficiently or with accuracy, have it be a weighted ball. That's going to be challenging. Session 5. Skipping and gross motor coordination, walking greater than 6 steps heel to toe. Before you can skip, you got to be able to jump. So, first 5 minutes. Use verbal cues. Participate with the child, simply jumping and then to skipping. So, adapt it, just simply jumping straight up and straight down on both feet. Grade it, jumping off both feet and landing on one foot. And then trying to do single leg hops. So, jump off the right leg, land on the right leg. Same with the left. Hopscotch. Very good activity. Okay, so adapting it, demonstrate it for the child, and then to give him support and comfort, let him be able to hold on to your hands as he attempts the course. Also keep the squares large so he has a big old area to land, and if he lands on both feet, he's got a wide base. To grade it, you could decrease the size of the box, or decrease the size of the box, because when he lands side by side, he's going to land in a narrower stance.